3D line confocal imaging. This is a scan we took of a diamond, which is transparent, but also has a very high index, really polished, multifaceted structure, and we can get very clean scan data on it, inspect for defects, both on the surface and in multi-layer defects as well. The main trade-off here is that the optics you're using are quite large relative to the volume you're trying to scan. So what that typically means is that you're limited in the scan volume you can effectively cover with this technology, on the order of millimeters by millimeters is the scan area that we're talking about. Because of the high rejection of unwanted signal, you can also handle complex shapes and geometries where you might get otherwise stray reflections that you have a hard time discerning. Is this the object I'm actually interested in, or is this just my laser beam bouncing off of an object and bouncing off of an object again? The confocal product uses a broadband LED-based illumination, so that removes one key source of noise that is commonly present in laser-based scanning systems. So confocal means having the same focus. A lot of the original development in confocal was for biology. You need to see inside this cell that's got a bunch of goo and fluid between you and what you're trying to actually image. The idea of chromatic confocal was introduced. We say, okay, we're gonna focus the blue light and we're gonna set up our blue receiving optic to be in the near field of view, and we're gonna do red at the far, and then the strong signal we get, the color of the wavelength of that reflected light is gonna tell us the distance. The range at multiple heights, because you might get multiple peaks. If this is a multi-layer target, then you would get a really strong blue signal and a really strong red signal at the top layer and the bottom layer of the object. Line confocal imaging, and that's an extension of the point. So effectively it's the same principle, but you have a plane. So if you picture your scan plane, it's going from, in this case of this illustration, red at the top to blue at the bottom, and now you're getting one or more peaks of strong wavelength return signal per column of your imager. So your X resolution is now determined by the imager you're using and the effective spacing of your pixel. Right now, state of the art for that would be at around micron level X spacing. So you can get 2 and pretty soon 4,000 points at 1 micron spacing between each point. And then for each column, you basically are getting the spectral information, which gets converted into height. So a single point confocal might be operating very fast at a point range. It'll be giving you maybe 100,000 points per second. If you have a line confocal sensor that has 2,000 points across the profile, and it's operating at 40 kilohertz, then you're getting like 80 million points per second. So drastically faster speeds, drastically faster scan times when you're trying to do detailed area scans of objects. Currently in the industry, you'll see sensors with fields of view ranging from like the 1 to 30 millimeter range, and the X resolutions ranging from kind of the 1 to 10 micron range. But you can easily achieve sub-micron resolution depending on your application and the sensor configuration you pick. So there's 2 types of line confocal technologies that are available right now. One that's shown on the left is dual axis. So that's where the optic that is emitting the light is separated spatially from the collection optics. Probably more common is the line version of the point confocal, which is what we call coaxial. So that means that the emission and the collection optics are the same physical optics, so the light follows the same path out of the device and back into the device. Dual axis, the main advantage you get there is even more noise rejection. This sensor configuration is also a lot more sensitive. Not only because of the reflection path, but because in a coaxial sensor arrangement, you have to put the light through a beam splitter, and you have to put it through twice. So the light that's going down onto the sensor passes through a beam splitter, and then when it comes back up, it also goes through another beam splitter, so that's a factor of 4 times difference in sensitivity between a coaxial arrangement and a dual axis. The improved data quality really shines when we're trying to do non-contact roughness measurements, surface roughness measurements in the range of 100 nanometers to 2 microns. Coaxial. Big advantage of the coaxial is you get really, really excellent angular acceptance. And that's because you've got this really big optic that you can bring really close to the target you're scanning. In the extreme cases, you can see up to plus and minus 85 degrees on the target. So if you're scanning a needle tip, you can almost see the entire needle tip all the way around with a single pass. And we see a lot of applications for this in the semiconductor space. One is you want to make sure that all of these thousands or millions of tiny coin or ball bumps that form this array are at the same height. The other that you want to inspect is the overall chip itself. So has the chip warped? Has something gone out of control in terms of your process that's going to affect your yield further down the production line? So these sensors and this technology is being actively used to scan millions and millions of these 50 to 100 micron sized bumps and coins. And we're trying to find the like 1 or 2 bumps out of a million that are deviating by more than a micron or 2 in terms of the nominal height that's expected. Some trade-offs. It is a larger sensor than you would see with a triangulation sensor. The more limited scan area that this technology can accommodate. It's generally more expensive than laser triangulation sensors. And the other caveat that I should mention is when we're doing multi-layer measurements, it is still an optical device. So that means the value reported is impacted by the index of refraction of the material. So it's not necessarily going to give you an absolute thickness without calibrating for the index of refraction. The confocal sensors are used today in electric vehicle battery weld inspection, but they're also increasingly being adopted in wearable electronics. So because we're constantly pushing the energy density of batteries and we're constantly putting them closer to our faces and on our persons, there's also increasing regulation around that. So we're seeing a trend for metal case batteries. Those all have to be welded. They're very tiny. They're very reflective metal welds, really well suited to the data quality and the inspections that you can do with line confocal scanning. Glue dispensing, gap flush, assembly tolerance to make sure that these processes are in control. You can imagine how difficult it can be if you want to reference, where's the top of this clear glue bead relative to this highly polished metal surface. Very difficult to do with, possible, but very difficult to do with laser triangulation. Considerably easier to do with the improved data quality of a line confocal scanner. Bond wire. This is a real example that was 25 micron gold bond wires. The inspection was not just for the obvious that you might be able to do with 2D vision. So with 2D vision, you can imagine, finding a missing wire, a completely broken wire. But as part of the bond wire formation process, you also want to make sure that, that's in control, that the tooling and the wire is following the path that you expect. So you're getting a good dispense of the wire, a good bond on either end, and that the device is going to be reliable. One of the advantages of 3D, whichever technology you pick, is that you get the illumination built in. Trying to detect the defect by carefully aligning or selecting your illumination isn't as much of a problem for this technology and other 3D technologies, which can be a real advantage. Medical devices, the stakes are high. The need for 100% inspection is very great. Manual inspection is not only really time consuming, but also prone to error. It's also a field where all of the challenges we've talked about really come into play. You're dealing with very, very small objects. They're made out of very challenging materials. They're often very reflective. They're often highly curved. They often have complex geometries. This is a stent. So this will get inserted like in your vein or in your artery to help keep it open. And this is a 3D image of that stent with a line confocal imager. And we can do really interesting things like there are intermittent, very small laser welds that you might want to inspect to make sure that they're present, that they've been put in the correct place. And then you can imagine this is also an application where you want to make sure there's no sharp edges or burrs. Medical tubing is also an application for this precision inline roughness measurement that the LCI technology brings to medical device manufacturers as well. It's really progressed from an at-line or an in-lab measurement technology to a true inline inspection technology. These systems are deployed in factories. They're scanning, they're integrated into fixed installations, and as I mentioned, they're also traversing actively across large web materials 24/7. And this is a real technology now that's available to solve industrial automation, 100% quality control type inspections. So, these devices can be IP rated, they're robust against shock and vibe, and they're robust against ambient immunity.